Trump administration is actively discussing a potential offer to buy Greenland, and yesterday said using the military to take it was an option too. Rufus Gifford is a former US ambassador to Denmark. He was appointed by Barack Obama and has also served in the Biden administration. He joins us now from New York. Rufus Gifford, welcome. So as a former diplomat, how would you characterise the Trump administration's approach to international relations in this second term and the effect on the reputation of the US internationally?
Well, thanks for having me, Joe, and good morning to you, or good afternoon. The words especially as it relates to Greenland, and this is something that hits me personally extremely hard, as someone who's devoted a good chunk of his life to American diplomacy and believes American diplomacy has been a remarkable force for good, especially over the course of the last 80 years. The Trump administration, the two words I think of are reckless and clueless. When I hear just today, we've heard from Secretary of State Marco Rubio. Yesterday, we heard from Deputy Chief of Staff of the White House, Stephen Miller, who just their knowledge of world affairs and understanding of alliances like NATO are so not only wrong but extraordinarily naive. And they make this argument about national security, which is a bogus argument as far as I'm concerned, which I'm happy to talk about. What they are doing, driving a stake through the heart of one of the best alliances the world has ever seen in NATO, is actually making Americans and the entire West less safe.
Donald Trump argues, of course, that the US under former Democrat administrations had become weak on the international stage, being taken for granted by allies, and points to the chaotic exit from Afghanistan and also the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Were there significant missteps on foreign policy under Democrat administrations?
Oh, of course. Look, I would say there's not a single American administration that hasn't made mistakes on the foreign policy stage. But this is what I would say is that those mistakes were grounded in something I think that's fairly consistent, which is a belief that yes, American foreign policy is about leading. It's about leading together with our allies, and it's not about isolationism. It is about doing what we can to make the world globally a better place as a leader in the world. So yes, many administrations, including Democrats, have made mistakes, but never before have we seen the kind of activity like we're seeing from the Trump administration. And Greenland is just an extraordinary example of that. And I speak out so openly on it because I think Americans need to understand this. And I think, look, I'm talking to Australians right now. I think this impacts all of you. I think the idea that we would reset the world order by driving a stake through the heart of NATO, empowering China, empowering Russia in the process, impacts every single one of us, including all of you.
But are these latest moves by Donald Trump, as some experts have said, the US repositioning itself to prepare for the rise of China, with the international balance of power transitioning inevitably from unipolarity to multipolarity, and that there is a certain rationale to this?
Well, the rationale is bogus. Anyone who tries to make an argument that a splintered West is the way to counter China, I don't even understand how they would even begin to make that argument. A strong West is how you counter China, and this bizarre, fairy tale, authoritarian imperialism of Donald Trump and his desire to try to potentially hostily take over a territory of one of our best allies is the exact opposite thing you should be doing if you're trying to make the world more peaceful.
And so how should the US then be positioning itself to adapt to the rise of China?
Well, so I'd say this. Look, I don't disagree. So if we're just talking about Greenland here, I mean, that's a very big question you just asked me. So I'm just going to answer it through the context of Greenland. So the answer is, what Trump, what Trump says he wants, which is enhanced military presence in the Arctic, and separate and apart from that, taking advantage of potentially the rare earth deposits on Greenland. Both of those I support fundamentally. When I was ambassador, these were projects that it tried to continue to encourage American private industry to look at Greenland here. We can do all of this by working together with two of our best allies in the world, in Denmark and Greenland. They would welcome a more expansive military presence on Greenland. We used to have more than a dozen military bases in Greenland at the end of World War II, and they scaled back and scaled back further after the Cold War, and we only have one left. They would welcome a further investment, and certainly welcome greater economic investment of the United States. None of that would require taking Greenland, to use our president's words. It's just, again, it's extraordinary, it's clueless, and it's reckless as far as I'm concerned.
So do you believe this period of foreign policy, US foreign policy under the Trump administration, is an aberration in the US history of foreign policy, and things will reset if there are different with different administrations in future, yeah. Or is this a sign of things to come?
I will go to my grave believing it's the former, Joe. And I think, and as someone who's devoted at least part of his life to, again, advancing U.S. interests overseas together with our allies, I have to believe that this is an anomaly. And one of the reasons I speak out both at home and around the world on this, what I think is a very critical issue, is because I think we have to make it an anomaly. And I know Australians, you may be thinking Greenland is literally on the other side of the world from you, but I do believe that this impacts all of us, which is why I think it's important for us to be talking about.
And so how do you think Australia then should be thinking about the US alliance now?
Well, look, I mean, listen, there is no doubt in my mind that our traditional allies, and of course, Australia is one of our best traditional allies. The Trump administration treats allies differently, and perhaps that's the nicest way I can put it. I do believe fundamentally that the heart of Americans and the heart of Australians want to keep our relationship as rich as possible and want to continue the closeness that we have had over the years. And I've worked with Australians many times over the course of my career. So look, yes, the Trump administration is what it is. We're going to have to deal with this for the next 3 years. But I believe strongly, and I will go to my grave fighting for it, that our traditional alliances, both in Europe and then, of course, with countries like Australia, will continue to be strong and will continue to be strengthened in the years to come. But we are going to have to get past this moment in time.